Hi, I'm Gruff, a cute little girl with the voice of a cartoon uncle. Probably even more so now because I'm in the middle of the worst allergic reaction of my life. No joke, my body's been trying to kill me for the past week, I tell you. A whole freaking week! But that's not why you are here, is it? You saw the thumbnail and decided to click on a video to see if my number one pick for best female character in Baldur's Gate 3 aligns with yours. Let's face it, the only reason list videos on YouTube are popular is because people like to have their opinions validated by strangers. You want to know if I am gooning to the same character as you because you are lonely and need to feel kinship with someone in this godforsaken world. Well, I am not one to judge. I am the one making the list after all. So let's take a look at the ladies of Baldur's Gate 3 and find out who is best girl. By the way, if it wasn't obvious, this video will contain spoilers for Baldur's Gate 3. So if you haven't played it yet and don't want your fun to be ruined, steer clear. This will be your only warning. We good? Okay, let's do this thing!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I mean, who else could be in this spot? Minthara is a Drow paladin and one of the main antagonists of the game's first act. We find her at a goblin camp, barking orders at the malcontents in the name of the Absolute, the game's big bad. When we first meet her, she's planning a massive attack on the druid camp in order to cancel the subscription to life of everyone there. So, of course, being that we are all good boys and girls, we stop her and her goblinoid army. I mean, you did that, right? Right? You weren't seduced by her sultry smoking ant's voice and ravaged an entire village of innocent refugees just for a piece of drow poontang, did you? Thing is, that was originally the only way to add Minthara to your ranks. She was designed to be a companion for evil playthroughs only, and slaughtering the druid camp was something of a point of no return for someone trying to act as a champion of justice. After bathing ourselves in the blood of the innocent, Minthara would reward us with a night of Menzoberranzan-style McLovin. Yeah, you slaughtered men, women and children, but that got your noodle wet. I mean, we've all done worse things to try and impress a lady, didn't we? Nowadays, after Larian updated the game, you no longer need to be a child exploder to get on with Minthara. All you need to do is avoid killing her in Act 1 and then rescue her after her trial in Act 2 when...
Mad dog should judge another.
Oh God, no! Not the puppy eyes! No! As a companion, she is an absolute beast in combat. I mean, she's a paladin, a class that is notoriously broken in Baldur's Gate 3, and accompanying her development is... interesting. Minthara never truly softens or shows a more vulnerable side like other tough characters when you romance them. She is, after all, a drow, someone who comes from a society where the strong prey on the weak. She does, however, show appreciation for her lover, even going as far as secretly poisoning them in their sleep so they can develop a resistance to... Oh!
I found an empty bottle of venom in camp, Minthara. Safe to assume it was yours?
Indeed. I have been dosing my partner while they sleep by my side. They refuse to take it in their food, but I must build up their immunity in case we ever visit Menzoberranzan together.
Oh no. Minthara also has a very pragmatic stance on love. She does value it, admitting is one of the hardest things one can do, to fall in love, that is, and how such a feeling can improve one's quality of life. And I mean, come on, she poisoned Stab in their sleep. What the hell is wrong with you, girl? Also, if you recruit her in Act 2, after recruiting Halsin the Druid, and have both in your camp at the same time, she evicts the poor elf from his tent. As I said, originally Minthara was meant for evil playthroughs only. You had to choose between a hot drow mommy or a He-Man looking like elf. Now you can have both, and Larian never corrected the fact that their tents occupy the same spot at the camp. So if you recruit the two of them, Halsing becomes homeless, wandering the camp with that ugly supernatural kid by his side, keeping him company while he slowly dies of exposure. That poor bodybuilding tree hugger.
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as fuck in my opinion. I mean,
yeah, I know Jaheira can't be romanced, but I also know that didn't stop all the hagmaxers out there from fantasizing about our strict but fair Russian elven mommy. So, Jaheira. She's one of the legendary heroes of Baldur's Gate, being present in every main game of the series. You know, the good ones. None of that Dark Alliance poop. Well, I actually like the Dark Alliance games. Fight me about it! Jaheira is someone who has seen stuff. She battled alongside heroes, defeated evil cults, took on monsters and all sorts of sordid creatures, and in the meantime managed to adopt a few kids. I mean, they are adopted, right? There is a half-orc among her kids. If he isn't adopted, his existence is certainly owed to a very funny or embarrassing story. Jaheira's most interesting trait is her somewhat jaded personality. The main cast of Baldur's Gate 3 is composed mostly of young characters. Even Asterion and Minthara are young among their respective people. Jaheira, on the other hand, is a mature woman. She's been around, traveled the world, met people, got embroiled in conflict, was married and then lost her husband, has kids she never sees because of her work leading the Harpers, a high fantasy workaholic mom, if you will. So she is cynical and has no time for other people's crap. Even with Minsk, her oldest friend, she's brash whenever she feels he's being stupid. And since it's Minsk we are talking about here, we know that well runs deep.
Oh, I fight alongside fools.
You hear that, Boo? We fight alongside our McLaren again.
I am your friend, Ranger. I am not your witch. There will be no ointments or healing balms.
Not even for Boo?
If you ask me, Jaheira is one of the most realistic portrayals of an adult I've ever seen in a game. As we grow older, we lose that spark in our eyes. We learn that love doesn't conquer all, that failure in life is more frequent than success, that precious relationships can end in the blink of an eye. Life is tough. Being a man of a certain age, being a cute bear girl who understands how men of a certain age feel. God, did that sound weird. I can't help but identify with Jaheira. I can see myself getting just as frustrated and angry with certain situations if I were in her shoes. I also love how Larian sculpted her face and body to reflect a mature woman. They could have taken the easy route, made her super sexy and smoking hot, at the peak of her beauty. She is a half-elf after all. But no, they made her a beautiful older woman. Her skin is not as firm as it used to be, and her face bears the marks of a long and difficult life. Personally, I think she's one of the most beautiful women to ever grace a video game. I am not hag-maxing. I believe we would be approximately the same age in real life. God, I am so old.
Oh shit. You mind if I praise the Lord? Go ahead. Revolution. What you say now?
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one. I mean, she is the most romanced character in the game according to Larian, but I just don't see Shadowheart as a great romantic partner. Okay, she's a half-elf cleric of Shar, the Lady of Loss. If you ever played Dungeons & Dragons, and I mean really played it, not just downloaded some free rulebook PDFs because you felt like playing after watching Stranger Things but never truly did, you poser. If you are worth your salt in regards to D&D, you know Shar is not a good deity to devote your life to. That said, Shadowheart is understandably dark. At least at the start. She's not interested in making friends, and her alliance with our cause is born purely out of necessity and desperation. However, just like our projection of every goth girl out there, she's just hurt on the inside. Yeah, just like that cute goth girl who works at your local Walmart and that you always try to build up the courage to talk to but never do, until the day you see her leaving the store with the Giga Chat manager and you get furious, devoting the rest of your life to insulting women online and buying Andrew Tate's courses like the pathetic loser you are. Where was I? Oh yeah, Shadowheart. She was raised by the cult of Shar, had her memories erased, and was taught to be, well, a c***.
Oh, it's going to be like that. I love strong women. They make the best servants. I couldn't help but overhear... Well, alright, I could have helped, but didn't. I won't pretend I'm disappointed. Your company is... Never mind. The famous Blade of Frontiers in the flesh. Clever, this hero act you've got going.
Hero, Blade. Name strangers gave me. My friends call me Will.
Excellent. If we ever become friends, I'll know what to call you.
But you can change her. Yes, Shadowheart is Baldur's Gate 3. I can fix her, companion. With time, kindness, and patience, you can peel her outer layers, not in the way you are thinking, well, in that way too, but I mean, you can help her become more pleasant and sweeter, allowing herself to feel more emotions than simply anger and the need to goon.
I like her. She looks like she could throw me over her shoulder and carry me to safety. Should the need arise.
Truth is, I love her development. From a broken dove who serves a cruel goddess to someone who turns her back on the darkness and decides to carve an entirely new path for herself in a way. She reminds me of Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Someone set in his ways, raised in an oppressive environment where excellence was demanded, always trying to fulfill someone else's expectations, even if it meant going against his own beliefs. Shadowheart is like that. Someone brainwashed, who went into deep personal conflict as soon as she met a group of friends outside of the cult, and whom we can nudge in the right direction, helping her become a better person. And yeah, while I can see that happening as a love story, I perceive Shadowheart more as a little sister, someone I am willing to take care of and help achieve her full potential, like Futaba Sakura in Persona 5. Except Futaba is my Oshi in Persona 5 and I always date her, so you can call me a hypocrite if you feel like.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Ah, yes, the irascible Toad Girl. Lae'zel is the first companion you meet in-game, if you don't count that talking brain thing. She points a sword at you, ready to do to you what you do to people in Mortal Kombat, then realizes you are both under the same predicament, having mind flayer fetuses inside your noggins. She becomes your reluctant ally, leaves you for dead after the Nautiloid crashes, and after you rescue her, she treats you as if you were one of those guys who claims that it's okay to goon to Kana-chan because she's 10,000 years old actually. Lae'zel is a Githyanki, a race of warrior people who comes from the astral plane and are solely responsible for preventing the entire D&D multiverse from being overrun by mind flayers. You know mind flayers, right? There was one in Stranger Things, you poser! Because the Githyanki are in an eternal war against the Geich, their word for mind flayers, they developed an ultra-militaristic culture where all must abide by uber-strict rules. When entering the party, Lae'zel is a shiny beacon of Githyanki culture. She's rude, acts superior towards everyone, has no problem making it clear how much she rejoices in violence, and has the Zula from Conan the Destroyer approach to intimacy.
Suppose you set your heart on somebody. What would you do to get him?
Grab him! And take him!
But if you play your cards right, she softens quite a bit. She will still be a Gith, devoted to what she believes is right, and ferocious like a Brock Lesnar who just got potatoed in the face by Braun Strowman, but she will no longer treat you like the guy who pooped his pants during a funeral. In fact, if you romance her, she becomes very enamored with you, to the point that near the end she asks if the two of you will stay together for good when your adventure is over.
There's more, but I don't know how to say it. I don't know what to call it. I just know. Whatever comes next, I want you near. When all this is over, will you stay with me? For good? Chaque Vome Findu, source of my joy.
To see a character who had no comprehension of or interest in love, who saw intimacy as just a means for pleasure, ask if her partner will not leave her when the business you have in common is concluded, now that's development. Kudos, Larian writers. I wasn't expecting to like Lae'zel as much as I did when I started playing, but here we are, with me craving a toad-faced girlfriend in real life. Okay, we are almost at the top. At this point, you all know who I'm gonna pick as number 1. So you are either praising me in the comments or have left the channel, blocked me, and flagged my video as promoting acts of terror and violence. Well, maybe I can convince you to stay a little while longer, because before number 1, I have some honorable mentions to get out of the way. None of them are romanceable, but they are still lovable enough for us to wonder about it. Alfira is a Tiefling bard refugee that we meet really early in our journey. Like every bard out there, she's sweet, joyful, always thinking about composing new ballads and trying her best to cheer everyone around her. She's just adorable, but then again, I might be a little biased in that regard. I absolutely love Tieflings. Even if I cannot romance Alfira, I am glad that we can meet her all throughout the game, becoming witnesses to her own little adventure. That is, unless you play as the Dark Urge and don't make a point of saving her. Sorry, Bard Dragon Girl whose name I didn't care to learn. I didn't want you to die, but you're not cute enough to be spared. Don't lie to me, you thought about it. We can meet Sazza 3 times during our journey, and in each one of those encounters we have the chance to save her. Sure, she's a filthy little thing I can smell through my monitor, but I always try to keep her organs inside her body. I would not romance or boink her, but I know a lot of you would. Yeah, don't try to hide it, I've seen the Goblin tab on Rule 34. I know what you guys think about when you are alone. Still, Sazza is not as bad a choice as Mizora. I mean, she's a literal devil. Worse, she's a lawyer.
Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless. Clause Z, Section 13. If the soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the soulbearer from all obligation within 6 months. Your contract, Will. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable.
Still, I know many of you accepted her invitation for a night of boinking, only to reload your last save after getting a chewing out from Will the next morning, just to pretend you're not a disgraceful sinner. Then again, I'm sure a lot of you didn't reload your last save and just added the I inserted my caramel into the devil's fudge feather to your cap and went along with it. I bet your favorite character from Chainsaw Man is Makima, isn't it?
Degenerates like you belong on a cross.
Now, we all did this. We're in the Underdark, ready to make that Drow intimately acquainted with our weapons when he just throws a terrified gnome girl into the lava. I lost count of how many hours I spent reloading my game and looking online for a way to save that poor girl, only to be met with disappointment. If there's anything Larian could add to the game in a future update that will never come, is the possibility of saving that girl. Then seeing her relocate to our camp and becoming our gnome friend who just stands there doing nothing but being cute. Please, Larian, I never asked for anything. Just drop everything you're doing with the next divinity and go back to patch an older title just to make me happy. Please, Larian. Please. Yeah, the narrator is just a disembodied voice, but fellas, what a voice.
What is the sexiest non-sex scene you've ever seen? The narrator from Baldur's Gate 3.
If you've never imagined that voice telling you to go do the dishes or informing you that she would sit on your face, then you are not human. And now, it's time to reveal our #1 gal. And it's none other than...
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Of course it's the hag, how could it be anyone else? She has a funny accent, she can cook, she lives in what can be considered prime real estate in the world of Faerun, and she's one kind, gentle soul who takes in pregnant girls who have nowhere else to go. And if you do everything right, in the ending scene at the camp, you get a letter from her telling you how much she would like to have you do the nasty with her and her new coven of hags. What a lovely vision that is. Okay, I'm just yanking your leg. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3's best girl is none other than...
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
How could she not be? 2 years before I finally played Baldur's Gate 3, I was already swooning over this devilish muscle mommy. But let's dissect the relationship a bit, shall we? Karlach is a tiefling barbarian who spent the past decade in Avernus, Baldur's Gate's version of Hell, after being sold to Zariel, Baldur's Gate's version of Lucifer, by her then best friend Gortash, who later becomes one of the game's main antagonists. Oh, I hate him! Zariel, who, if you didn't guess from the fact that she is the head honcho of Hell, is a cunt, replaced Karlach's heart with an infernal engine, turning her into the perfect killing machine, but also making her unable to touch others without burning them. So, after 10 years slaughtering demons, as soon as Karlach saw the Nautiloid, that is, the Mind Flayer spaceship, crossing Avernus at the beginning of the game, she took that chance to escape to the material plane to try and regain some modicum of normalcy. That's when we find her and adopt her. Karlach is like a Saint Bernard, huge and lovely. She wears all of her emotions on her sleeve, and in the same way she can easily blow up and show nothing but hatred towards people trying to wrong her.
I looked after that fucker with my life. I trusted him. He gave me away to Zariel without a second thought. He has to die. And I'm gonna be the one who kills him.
She can also be very sweet towards the people she cares for, humming like a schoolgirl in love after spending her first night together with the main character. The dichotomy is very endearing, but there is also the fact that she cares for you. Usually in RPGs, both Japanese and Western, the player is a parent to his troops. Everyone trauma dumps on you, and if you want to achieve the best ending possible in whatever game you're playing, you have to act as an unpaid therapist for the whole lot of them. With Karlach, it's the other way around. She is literally dying. Unless she returns to Avernus, her infernal engine will torch her from inside out until nothing is left. Thing is, she would rather die than return to hell. Instead, she copes with her fate and after a while accepts it, choosing to spend her remaining time being as happy as she can, and that means making you, the player, happy as well. She reminds me of Dell from Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Now there's a comparison you never expected to hear. Dell is a lonely widower who spends his time traveling because since he doesn't have a wife to go back to, there is no point in going home. He seems like an a-hole at the start of the film, but as things progress, we realize he's just someone in pain, desperate for connection, who, despite everything that went wrong, still has some zest for life. Karlach is like that too. A doomed muscle mommy who endured suffering most of us couldn't even begin to imagine, and chose to come out of it as the best person she could be. That is why she is the best girl in Baldur's Gate 3. Now I want to know from you guys. Who's your favorite girl in Baldur's Gate 3? Would you rather melt your caramel on a fiery muscle mommy? Or do you prefer to hide the sausage with a goth nun? Let me know in the comments. Reading your opinions is one of my favorite things to do, because if you felt compelled to comment, it means I made a good enough video to get your brain juices flowing. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, it means the world to me. And if you'd like me to make a similar video talking about the boys of Baldur's Gate 3, or who is best girl in any other game, just let me know. I'll see you guys in the not so distant future. Until then, take care of yourselves and everyone you love. Cheers!